Today we have Macbeth Act 1, Scene 7. In the previous scene, we have seen that both the Macbeths are on board. They are planning and plotting to kill their king and guest, King Duncan. So let's see. There is a feast happening, and Macbeth, in between the feast, is walking out. He goes to sit by himself. He is deep in thought. And this is a very important soliloquy. This is something that will definitely come for your exam because these are some of the most brilliant, gorgeous lines that Shakespeare has written comes in this soliloquy. So Macbeth, he is seen to be vacillating. He's thinking of the pros and cons, whether he should kill the king, whether he should follow the equivocations of the witches. If it were done when it is done, then it were well, it were done quickly, if the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease success. So now he says, if it were done, that is the murder, if it could be done and got away with just like that, quickly, then it were well, it was done quickly. If the assassination could just be done without any consequences. If only I could do this deed without having to face the consequences, then the best thing would be that it would be done immediately. So he does not want the net of consequences, the trammel of consequences to catch up with him. So this is something that is seen even in the present day. When a person is going to commit an evil deed, they do not want to think of the consequences. And it is sure that definitely they will have to face the consequences. And surcease means simply to seize. That but this blow might be the be all and end all here. With this one swift blow, if he could just stab Duncan, and that would be the be all and end all of the matter. So here we see there is a irony used because that is something very, it is an expectation that will never become true. For sure, a man will meet with the consequences of his action. So this is irony. And there is never a scenario where it is the be all and end all. Trouble is just going to begin. Where Macbeth imagines that all the troubles will cease, there it will begin. But here, upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come. So here, there are the many reasons. He is now making a list of all the reasons as to why he does not want to kill King Duncan. And the first reason that he is citing is that he does not want to face the consequences. Macbeth is not bothered about the life hereafter. That is what is meant by the lines, this bank and shoal of time of this mortal life. He knows that he will have to face the consequences in this life. We jump the life to come. He is at present not thinking about the life to come. In those times, in the Western civilization and Christianity, hell and heaven were very real and very literal. And a person who did an evil deed would definitely be bothered by the consequences of going to such a literal hell. But here Macbeth says, I'm ready to not think of that. So here you need to question yourself. Is it his moral compass that is working? Is it his morality or is it mere cowardice? And it feels to me that this is more of cowardice than morality. Maybe we can give him a slight bit of a moral high ground, but more cowardice since he does not, the only thing that is stopping him seems to be the consequence of his actions. We still have judgment here that we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught return to plague the inventor. So he says that we know that the inventor of an evil, definitely it goes around and finally he himself has to answer for it. And this is true in life, that the man who has invented a weapon, or the scientist who creates an atomic bomb, when he sees the destruction to which it is put, it will come to haunt him. And so it is with evil things. The teacher of it, the inventor of it, he must bear the brunt of it. So Macbeth is worried about all these reasons. This even handed justice commands the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips. He knows that justice is impartial and it will punish what you give in life, you will surely get. And this poisoned chalice, this glass of poisoned wine that you offer another, it will soon come back to your own lips. And so he is afraid of that retribution. His mind is vacillating. It shows us that this anti hero of ours is a weak man, a man with a weak character. He is here in double trust. First, I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed, then as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Now comes the next reason. He is my king, and in those times, the king was considered divine, ordained by God. To kill his king would be treason. To kill his guest would also be inhuman. Again, in those times, guests, if you look at the early Greek literature, you see the importance that the guest was given. So it was in all the various civilizations of the world. In the Indian mythology and Indian Vedas, we see Atiti Devo Bhava. So, Atiti or guest should be given so much importance and protection. Macbeth here says, I should be the one who closes the door against the murderer or the thief who comes from without, rather than be the person who wields the knife. Here I am planning to be the murderer myself of my guest. So, in those times, you can imagine that even a king, when he is traveling from one point to another, would have to be the guest of some thane on the way. There would be no hotels or restaurants for the people in ancient times. So it is a bound duty of every man to welcome a wayfarer. And here it is a king. So this is his second reason. He is giving several reasons as to why he should not kill the king. Besides this, Duncan had borne his faculty so meek, had been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off. Yet another reason is that Duncan is a very fair, just, naive, gentle, meek king, that such a man, if he is killed, everybody will be filled with pity and people will condemn his murderer. Definitely, if a dictator or an evil, tyrannical ruler is killed, surely at least some people would be happy that he's been killed, he's out of the way. So, but imagine a Gandhi or a Martin Luther King, when such people are assassinated, the very heavens cry out. So here, if only the king was an evil person, Macbeth could, sort of justify his action. But here, Duncan has only the Christ's lamb-like qualities. And even the angels would cry out. And pity like a naked newborn babe striding the blast, or heaven's cherubim housed upon the sightless couriers of the air. So here pity is personified. Pity is said to be like a naked newborn baby. That is the most innocent, lovely image of an innocent baby. So pity like that would cry out to the people's hearts. Heaven's cherubim, that is the highest level of the angels, those little chubby baby angels who is like, they would be flying on the sightless, wings, or the clouds in heaven, and they would be crying out that Duncan has died. Such a king, such a holy, innocent person is being killed. Such blood has been spilled. So the tears shall drown the wind. The amount of tears, they would even drown the very winds of heaven. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition which overleaps itself and falls on the other. And I have no other reason to kill this king other than my vaulting ambition. He cannot claim any moral high ground. Okay, I have killed this person because he is a tyrant. No, he's not a tyrant. He's not a dictator. He is a just king. So the only reason that I have to kill is my own overwhelming ambition, overwhelming ambition. So this is one of the tragic flaws here itself we can see. One of his tragic flaws is that his ambition, his greed, is making him do a wrong. And the spur is the uh, iron uh, thing device fitted on the warrior's foot to, spur on or make the horse move faster. But here, the spur for him to kill Duncan. Duncan once imagined that the spur which Macbeth had to rush before him was his love for Duncan. And here is the irony that for Macbeth, the spur to kill Duncan is his vaulting ambition. And he himself says that just like a rider who, with such an ambition, would rush and leap and overleap, that he would land on the other side, not on the saddle, not on the horse, but on the other side. Such is his own ambition. He knows it. It will only take him to trouble. So now Macbeth is coming to slowly to the conclusion that he does not want to kill Duncan. He cannot face all these consequences. He is a weak man, and his morals do not hold him up. Yet at the same time, he knows that this action he will not be able to defend himself. Enter Lady Macbeth. How now? What news? Lady Macbeth, he has almost supped. Why have you left the chamber? So King Duncan has finished eating. Why did you leave the chamber? Everybody is present. Why did you go off alone? Macbeth, hath he asked for me? Did he ask for me? Lady Macbeth, no, you not. He has. You do know that he always seeks your presence. He is enjoying the feast. Macbeth, we will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon. So here Macbeth says, we will proceed no further in this business. By using the word we, the pronoun we, he shows that both of us are on board. This is a plan that we have taken up on a united basis. We were planning together to do this deed, but let us not proceed any further. He has had so many reasons in his mind, but look at the reason that he is giving his wife. He is giving a reason that he hopes will please her, a reason which she might agree to. That is, we've already got so many riches. He has given me the title of Thane of Cawdor and Thane of Glamis, and he has honored me. So let me enjoy these titles and these riches in their newest gloss. I've just got it. Let me enjoy them. So this plot of killing must go no further. This shows us that Macbeth is scared of Lady Macbeth. He is very scared of his dominant wife. He's trying to give her a reason that she might agree to. Lady Macbeth, was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since, and wakes it now to look so green and pale? Now, here is the topic of toxic masculinity. Macbeth is a weak man, and Lady Macbeth knows that she knows that she must stoke his ego. She has to give him the feeling that to be considered a man, he has to do an evil deed. So she asks him, that hope that you had of becoming the king, of killing Duncan, was that hope drunk? Were you talking in your drunkenness, or was that hope asleep? Were you not in your senses when you told me that you are planning to become the king? And wakes it now to look so green and pale. Your very ambition has become green and pale. She is mocking him. At what it did so freely, from this time such I account thy love. Art thou ever to be the same in thine own act and valor as thou art in desire? So she is now really making him feel too less a man. He is not manly. She says that if this is the situation of your ambition, from now on, I'm going to consider your love to be likewise. She is truly the devouring mother. Only if you do this deed will I consider you a man. Only then will I say, good, well done. If you have to hear that from me, you need to do this evil deed. So she is the devouring female. She is the, fatal feminine here. And she says, are you afraid of living up to your deed so you don't have any value for your word? She says everything possible to bring out that toxic masculinity in him. Here is we need to view this through that Jungian lens of the anima and the animus, the yin and yang. In both the woman and the man, there is the feminine and the masculine. As in the Indian Vedas, also there is the Ardhanarishwara concept. The feminine, the so called feminine qualities of nurture and love and care, and the so called traditional masculine qualities of valor and strength, they should go hand in hand. But here, Lady Macbeth has asked the supernatural spirits, unsex me here. Take all that is feminine and gentle in me, take it away. Make me purely masculine or, cruel. And the same goes for Macbeth. She does not want him to have the nurturing, gentle qualities. And we know that the truly masculine, the real man, is protective. He would protect his guests, he would protect his children, he would nurture, and he would, you know, um, do everything that is fair and just. That is a true essence of being manly. But here, she wants him, she's stoking his ego to make him do this evil deed. Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life? She calls the crown the ornament of life. That ornament of life which you desired, are you going to give it up so quickly? Are you going to be so easily scared and live a coward in thine own esteem? So, being a man who can't keep your own word, you will have to live the rest of your life as a coward in your own esteem. Can you look yourself in the mirror? Letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat in the adage. So finally, she compares him to a poor cat in the adage. The adage is the folk tale or proverb. So she accuses him. She says, you are like the cat in the story. The cat wants the fish, but it does not want to get its hands wet. And you are like that. You want to be the king, you want the crown, but you will not take the necessary action. That is really cowardly of you. So a real man would be able to stand up to her and tell her that, I do not want to commit an evil deed. But slowly we see that Macbeth is weakening. Pretty peace, I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none. So he says, stop it, stop, pretty peace, give me some peace. And now we see that slowly he is failing. He does not have too many arguments. He does not know how to fight her, so he just says, "Be quiet. I'm doing everything that is possible for a man. I am manly. Don't you dare accuse me of not being manly. Who dares do more is none." This is to show that Macbeth wants her to understand that in the battlefield, he has killed so many people. That is to say that he is a warrior. And to kill in the battlefield, one has noble reasons. It is for Scotland, it is for the King Duncan, it is to protect one's own people. And that is the moral duty of a soldier. And he is fighting in broad daylight with people who are also armed. But here, this is the dead of night. This is surely a cowardly action. Lady Macbeth, you can see that all of a sudden she becomes very eloquent. While Macbeth is slowly failing in his arguments, she becomes even more eloquent. We have to remember her previous words where very confidently she says, "With my tongue I shall convince him to do this deed." What beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me? What kind of beast was it that made you plan this and tell me this very enterprise? Were you not a man then? What kind of beast were you that you told me of such a plan? And now you're changing your mind. When you durst do it, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. So durst means dare. So when you dare to do that deed, then you were a man. And had you finished it, when you complete it, you would be even more manly, even more brave. No time nor place did then adhere, and yet you could make both. So till now there was no time and place. You did not get the opportunity. So now everything has fallen in place. The night is dark. There is no light. The moon is not shining. Every circumstance, you have the optimum time. And Duncan is fast asleep under your own roof. What is there to fear? She's convincing him to do the act. Oh, yes. And yet you would make both. So we see that so often in life, you would have the correct opportunity, everything would fall in place, and yet you would not use the opportunity. So this is very sad if it was for a rightful action. But here, the act that they are going to commit is wrong. It would be better that they refrain from doing it. They have they have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I have given suck and know how tender it is to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums and dashed the brains out, had I so sown as you have done to this. So now she gives a very wild and horrific comparison. She says that I have breastfed a baby, I have given milk to a baby, I am a mother, but had I promised to kill this child, I would, dash its brains out, looking at that mouth without the teeth, that little innocent babe. I would just, pluck it off my bosom and dash its brains. What a horrific, what a cruel, what an, ultimate cruelty is in that picture. The mother and child imagery brings to mind Christ and his mother. The most sublime and purest image in the world is the mother with the baby. And this is the image. So, this is to show how cruel she can be. Surely, if there were a fourth witch in this story, it would be Lady Macbeth. But then, on the other hand, this is all talk. Here we should see that she is not actually doing anything so horrific. Rather, she is using all these words in order to make her husband ready to commit this evil deed. So, the child mother imagery is important here. She says that, you were so ambitious once, and now when everything is fallen in place, you're backing out. Macbeth, now he's convinced. Now he has only, there's no moral dilemma. There is, no longer is he thinking about his guest or king. Rather, he asks only the very physical reason. If we should fail, now he only wants to know, what if we fail? Then we will be punished. Surely, if we are caught in the act, such a man would be hanged to death. Surely, anybody who was plotting against the king would be killed. Now, Lady Macbeth, is she satisfied? This is something that she can easily overcome. So, this we see the arc. The tension has risen to a height, and now Shakespeare is going to let down the tension, because in a play of all superior plays, we see that the audience is taken to that point of tension, and now it will be unraveled. Now the plot is actually going to take place. We fail, but screw your courage to the sticking place, and we'll not fail. If only you'll screw up your courage, if you will summon all your courage and, stick to that. Do not vacillate. Do not doubt yourself. When Duncan is asleep, where to the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him and his two chamberlains? Will I with wine and wassail so convince? I will call both his, bodyguards, those two chamberlains. I will call them, and I will give them wine and wassail with revelry and food and wine. They will be so drunk that memory, the water of the brain, that warden of the brain, the memory or consciousness, all that will go, because they will be so drunk. Shall be a fume and the receipt of reason, a limbeck only. It was believed in those times the limbeck, or that part of the brain, was what kept a person conscious, and I will make them so drunk that they will be in a stupor. They will not know what is going on. When in swinish sleep, when they sleep like swine, that is pigs, they will be intoxicated with wine and they will sleep like pigs. Their drenched natures lie as in a death. What cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? When they sleep like pigs, what is there that we cannot perform? It is not what we can do, but what is there we cannot do? We may do anything at all at that, no one is going to know, no one is going to be the wiser for it. What not put upon his spongy officers? Who shall bear the guilt of our great quell? Quell means murder. Spongy officers is those who are drenched or intoxicated with wine. We will then accuse his intoxicated officers of having committed the crime. This great quell that you and I will perform, we will just put it on them, and everybody will believe us because they will be intoxicated. Macbeth is now ready to do the deed. So this is a very psychologically profound passages in this scene 7. Every line is filled with psychological depth. Macbeth, bring forth men children only, for thy undaunted mettle should compose nothing but males. Now he is supremely impressed by his wife. He says, your undaunted mettle, you are made of such stuff that is, you are so powerfully masculine that you should bring forth only sons. These qualities should be there only for boys, and you must give birth to boys. We do not see any mention of Macbeth's children throughout the play, yet she says that she has been a mother, so she may have had a child and lost it, or maybe there is a young child that is not mentioned in the story, but we do know from her words that she has been a mother once. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy two of his own chamber and used their very daggers that they have done it? So, yes, I think that is a great idea. When we mark those people with their own daggers, we will kill the king, and the blood we will mark upon these two chamberlains. then everybody will suspect them. Lady Macbeth, who dares receive it other, as we shall make our griefs and clamour roar upon his death. We will clamour and roar and cry and lament his death so much that everybody's suspicion will fall only on the intoxicated chamberlains. Nobody will suspect us. We will act equally surprised. I am settled and bent up, each corporeal agent, to this terrible feat. So every being in me is now, rising up to fight. Every being and atom of me is now ready for the deed. My corporeal, physical being has become a murderer. Away and mock the time with fairest show. You please go forward and mock the time. Pretend to be such a hostess and be so amazing as you are that everyone is fooled. False face, there's an important line. False face must hide what the false heart doth know. This brings us back to the thought of foul is fair and fair is foul. The word foul is used there. Here it is the word false. Again, the false face must hide the intention. Yet again, this brings us back to the lines of be like the flower outwardly, but be the serpent underneath. So do not let your intentions show on your face. Keep your face so smiling and innocent and so kind and gentle, but you should be like a serpent inside. So she surely looks like the fourth witch, we can call her. And this is a very, the psychological curve here. Anyone who plans that hubris should be ready for a nemesis, and that will definitely come. So be very attentive to the soliloquy that will definitely come for the exam. Then the toxic masculinity, that is another motive that is going to keep on coming, and where the all slightly phallic imagery is also there, to in the sense that he is called not a man. So here he is proving his manhood. So this is a very psychologically profound chapter.